What is going on, Godforge? We are back. I hope you guys have been having an absolutely amazing new year so far. And I'm extremely excited because this is our first Godforge video returning for the new year. Now, I know you guys are like, wait, Zox, where have you been with your beautiful face? Like, what's been going on? Don't worry, we're going to talk about that towards the end of the video. But we're going to be starting off this video, getting into some of the amazing things that Godforge is bringing to the table. Again, really excited because it's been quite some time since I've seen some of the things within the game. And of course, some of those changes. So we might be also revisiting some of the previous videos just to kind of get ourselves caught up. So of course, with that, let's go ahead, let's dive into it, and let's see what they've cooked up.
Hey guys, this is Simon from Fateless.
Yo, what's up, Simon?
I want to go through some of the stuff actually that Dane shared with us in our team meeting last week. We do a monthly meeting where all of the different leads, the heads of department come in. They share with the rest of the team some of the cool stuff they're working on, some of their challenges, all that type of stuff. So that we are all well informed and psyched for Godforge. And yeah, Dane did the art attack, so he was able to show off some of the art highlights, including 2D.
I see that background. That background looks really cool.
That type of stuff. So I love these. They're one of my favorite kind of like sessions of the month. And yeah, I just wanted to share with you some snippets of what we saw as well.
Okay, let's go.
I do have some news. Not the best news for everybody, but the dev team are telling us that, look, beta's probably going to be more like really April, May, rather than the March that we were hoping for. So but keep that in your brain. I don't want to misinform, but
okay, so here's my thing with that. I've been like currently working with XD company and working on a game where are now on their 4th beta, right? Take all the time you need to cook. I promise you that is going to, in my honest, humble opinion, is going to be the most effective and the most beneficial thing that you can do for your players, for the game, and just for longevity's sake. I feel like, again, it's always hype to have these games come out to actually be able to play test them, you know, get a feel for like what they're like. But I always will say that the best results come from the things that just get to slow cook, right? So I think that, again, that just means that there's just going to be more development that's going to, you know, essentially be there. More things that, you know, you could potentially prevent from going wrong, which is, again, what you're essentially looking to do is you want to try to give, you know, some sort of experience that players can enjoy. Obviously, fixing some of those things along the way that might come up, maybe, you know, a couple of bugs, whatever it might be, but nonetheless, a great experience. And of course, the more time you have to do that, the higher the probability of that would be. So that's at least my 2 cents, but let's go ahead and let's continue.
You know, it's the reality of creating games. It doesn't all happen just in a singular flow like you would expect it to happen. Anyway, let's jump in and see some of the cool stuff that the guys have been working on here. Godforge, art team highlights. Let's go. First one of the year for us.
Ooh.
So, this is not going to be new news for people that are active in our Discord, but Lady Zoc, who is a rare hero in the game.
It's kind of giving me some Path of Exile
The attention to detail on the face here is absolutely unbelievable. Like, it's so good. But yeah, the character starts to bring a different flair. Obviously, so far, I think we've seen a lot of heroes from Avalon, from Aru, which is like the Egyptian theme, from, you know, like Asgard stuff. So stuff that we probably are really well aware of just in other sort of walks of life. But, you know, when we start to see these different influences to our factions, I think it's really, really cool. So yeah, Lady Zoc with her headdress here.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Obviously nice detailing around the face, but generally like a really cool vibe to the hero as well. This is the initial concept for Perun.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Faction. So this dude is basically a weapons master, and obviously we're not seeing a lot of weapons here. Basically, Dan went back and said, look, the visual is cool, but we need to see more. And this is a really cool overdraw from Dane. So
nice. Like, okay, that's sick.
I want it to feel a bit more like the dude top left. So he pulled together a bit of a mood board and then did a very cool Dane overdraw. It's what Dane does best, honestly. Line work, where he gives a load of kind of like...
Yeah, that's really, really sick.
The artist, just to say, look, this is the type of direction we want to go. We want to push it much further for our legendary heroes. And you can see all of the different kind of like weaponry. Yeah,
that's sick. That's a weapon master.
2D team to try and hit. So really, really cool. I love it when Dane does these because you're just kind of like, yeah, now we're starting to really like ramp up the design level. Quetzalcoatl, I think. No, Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's such a hard name to say.
We have got the Cobra-like face. So this is
That's a really, really good
legendary
variation of this
hero
character.
in the game. Okay, so yes, you will be able to control some creatures as your own characters. Taking in a lot of the influences here, you can see this kind of like headdress.
Very tribal.
One of these concepts.
Yeah.
I love the kind of like different vibes we've got in terms of, you know, mouth opening and like, what's this say here? I can just about read it. Protruding tongue and gums like a snake, ruffled feathers when threatening or about to attack. Almost reminds me of kind of like that raptor feel with that kind of like.
Yeah, that's a really well done.
Very, very cool color scheme.
I was about to say the color scheme is really good.
Park here. This is cool. So,
we get some Japanese Shinigami.
It is Shinigami.
Yeah.
The figure.
That's sick.
Has got a lot of kind of like cool outs here. We need to go in a direction. Again, I saw this one. I was like, I kind of love all three, but for me, in terms of having that kind of like different feel for the game from stuff that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
I personally really liked a blend of 1 and 2. So, you know, some of the kind of like garments from 2, really like 2 actually, kind of like chest down. But yeah, and I actually really like this kind of like shoulder pauldron as well. So
yeah, it's kind of like an oni on the shoulder is like really sick.
They're all really, really interesting, and they've got kind of like different vibes to them. I just got a sucker for this kind of like red face mask type of vibe as well. So yeah, really, really cool. This is one of our giants. So I have shown kind of like early examples of this dude, and this is from the Avalon faction. You can see with our giant rig, we can actually do so much. And yeah, he's kind of like carrying this kind of tapestry.
Like that's a whole tablet.
All over the dude.
That's sick.
He's struggling with his kind of like post-apocalyptic vibe. But yeah, I've actually just watched The Last of Us again, and it feels like he has been infected bad. But yeah, very, very cool feel to this one. And then we've got a second giant from our giant
let's see it.
who's in early development. This is Asarg. Only a rare hero, so
only a rare
stuff like that we're seeing this one. But
okay,
yeah, blockouts being done. It's got a bit of a Malphite vibe for me, but I love it. It's so different from anything we've seen.
Yeah, that's very sick
in the game. There's one more 2D that I'm going to show you, but I'm going to save it to last because it is my favorite. Let me show you a couple of animations first. Okay, then. So a couple of animations. I don't think we've seen this hero at all yet, but Tomo Gozen here, fully 3D.
That's sick. That looks good.
Being added to the game as we speak. So going to get the animations and stuff in for that, but that's the 3D model. And then we've got our first animations of a boss here, the Gold Golem Slam.
Ooh.
Obviously, it's not obvious actually. The res of the heroes are reduced when we're doing like animation stuff. So that's not what he actually looks like. We've seen visibility of him before, but given a slam down there for one ability. And then this one will be sped up, but just gives you an idea of what we're able to do with a rig that is completely unique to this boss. So all of his joints are totally...
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Like, almost like on spheres. So you can move them around. You can do basically whatever you want in a very like Golem-esque way. So again, some cool work being done for the Gold Golem. Right, one more to show you in terms of a 2D. Okay. It's probably my favorite one yet. Let's go through just a little bit of the lore of Izanami. So Izanami in Japanese mythology. She is said to have died giving birth to one of her children who...
Yeah, if you have Izanami, you have to have Izanagi.
Due to grief,
you know?
Losing his beloved. So some kind of like pretty dark backstory here in terms of her wiki and some of the stuff. You can see a couple of visuals in terms of, you know, some mood boarding. And I know the concept artist went into a lot more detail than this in terms of mood boards, but let me share with you.
Wow, that's really good.
Honestly, so good. Yeah, man, I just love it so much. Like I just feel like the Japanese and Chinese cultures, they've got such great visual quality.
Yeah, this is something I'm like, wow. Like this, I think it's like it's like I feel like everything is like, okay, this looks really good, but I feel like a lot of like what the Japanese culture art style, at least for me personally, and like the Chinese culture art style, is that you can look at those things and it's like, wow, that's really pretty, right? Like I think that that's what you're kind of getting to. It's like this awe, and you kind of almost get like this like deity type of vibe from this type of art style. This is really, really well done. So I gotta say, like, even down to how they kind of did the art style, it's kind of like a watercolor versus it just being straight, solid paints, right? Like, and it kind of falls more into like that traditional, Eastern art style on scrolls, which is really cool. And then even down to the flowerings that they decide to use all the way around the or from across the shoulder onto the back, like. Those are really, really significant as well to those cultures. So that's like really, really well done and great attention to detail, to be honest.
Teasing them. And it's so good to start to see some of these heroes coming through as well. So look, that is going to do it for today.
Dang.
Enjoying the Fateless videos.
Dude, that's so sick. I'm not going to lie. Like what they did so far, or what at least they've shown, I got to say for sure, this is my favorite. Yeah, the Izanagi, Izanami. Is huge. So I'm actually kind of excited to see what Izanagi is going to look like because they have a really big, obviously, correlation to each other. And it's really nice to see some of these designs like come into life. I think also, too, like another one that I kind of liked quite a bit was the Weapon Master, actually. I think that like that whole concept and like how they like had that base variation was like, okay, that's not good enough. Let's make it better. And then they started to add the overlaying. I love line art, like line work like this is just so sick because then you can kind of still see that base variation, but then you can see what it's going to potentially become. So this is like really, really well done. I got to say, again, kudos to the Fateless team for doing such an amazing job, obviously, with Godforge. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. So, of course, make sure you guys like and subscribe, man, if you want to keep up with everything that's going on with Godforge. Now, real quick, I do want to touch on some of the things that I obviously have going on. Obviously, we took a massive, massive break towards the end of the year. I think part of it was like a little burnout, but also it was like a necessary break. Taking that break, I kind of just really wasn't uploading it much on any of my channels, but that was in preparation for what I have currently going on. So for those of you guys that don't know, I am currently a CM on a game called Ethereal Restart. So I am currently working on that game. That's been an absolute blast. And on top of that, that's opened up a lot of doors for me to have the chance to actually go out to China. I've been competing in like tournaments for RTA. Obviously, I'm running my other channels. They're like going really well. I've been doing a lot of community work. And so I wanted to make sure that I got everything going with Godforge, because this is also another one of the very few projects that I wanted to invest my time into. This year in particular, I actually planned out my entire year for game coverage, which is usually not a thing that a lot of people do. But I have personally done that because I wanted to fully commit to those games that I decided that I wanted to cover. So one of those games was one of the games I currently have going on that I'm playing, Ethereal Restart. But this was the other game for me. Obviously, there's one other one, but this was for the sake of this channel. One of the ones that I was just like, this has a ton of potential. Same thing with like Ethereum. They've gone through every single beta phase. I've gone through all of the tech tests, all that stuff, and I wanted to be a part of that process for this game as well. I find these processes to be extremely fun. And I love seeing the evolution of where games start to where they become, or to where they go. And really just being able to say like, man, I remember when this game was like this, and being able to enjoy that and share those memories and just even the future of those games with the community. So I'm excited for everything that's coming with Fateless. Again, as far as the beta goes, it is absolutely okay that this is being pushed back. I think it's just going to give us a little bit more time to get a better product. Now, of course, guys, definitely make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit 1K as soon as possible on this channel. I would truly appreciate it if you guys could make that happen. But nonetheless, that's going to be that with this one. Again, shout out to Fateless, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.